All right, we're going. We're live.
Cheers to that.
Absolutely. Nice satisfying clink of the Coors Light cans.
Nothing like a little bit of heavy water to get the podcast voices talking.
Dude.
Coors is fine, but I think Yuengling is still my go-to sipping beer.
Dude, Yuengling, there's that mid-level beer that you see so rarely because, like, I feel like nowadays you are either buying a 30 rack for the boys and you're just powering through them because you don't care.
Coors Light,
Bud Light, Miller Light, whatever, all that kind of stuff. Or you're like treating yourself to some like
you're picking one off
double
a
IPA that tastes like cheesecake or something. You know what I'm saying?
It's like vape flavors made their way into beer brewing.
Yeah, exactly. And so like then there's that mid tier where it's like you really appreciate them when you have them because like, oh wow, this is like, it's the feel of a light beer with a little something extra. So that's like I know Yuengling
for
there.
Sure.
Stella kind of is in there too.
Yeah, like good enough to drink and enjoy the flavor of it as well as drink a handful of them.
But it's still totally just beer. You know what I'm saying?
There's no bells or whistles on it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly why I like Yuengling. It doesn't taste like sour water.
Yeah.
It doesn't hit you like it's trying to make a statement about what beer can taste like. It's America's oldest brewery. It's right there. It's beer, whether you like it or not,
exactly.
And take it or don't.
And you better fucking like it. But I feel like, you know what I love in that same tier is Guinness, dude.
I was going to say Guinness.
I can pound Guinness.
That's impressive. That's a dark beer. I guess Guinness would still be kind of a mid-tier in the sense that it's available everywhere. You can get 12 and 18 packs. Like, everyone knows about it. It's common. It's just a commoner heavy beer, I guess. Almost a league of its own.
Mm-hmm. Oh, dude, Guinness. Yeah, I mean, well, there was this one time I went down to visit my friend at Virginia Tech for spring break, and they had like some crazy deal. It was like $4 pitchers or something. Like, and they weren't like huge pitchers. Like, they were on the smaller side, but still pitchers. And like to this day, his friends from Virginia still know me as like the Guinness guy because I like got a whole pitcher of Guinness and fucking downed the whole thing
before getting 4 more similar pitchers.
Oh yeah, exactly. But yeah, it definitely made a statement because I had like just met those guys that day, and so really had to make my mark quick. Boy, did I!
The Irish lad. But anyway, we've got our sipping beers.
Oh yeah, for sure. So,
this is a couple of fellas, hopefully our actual inaugural episode. We've been recording garbage on it. Basically trash, yeah.
It's practice.
On and off for like 3 weeks, trying out some Let's Plays, some podcasts, more realizing that you have to spend some money to continue spending money on this hobby.
It's very true. Although it hasn't been too bad. We got the capture card at a steal, and this microphone wasn't too expensive either.
Nope, but we did need some hardware.
Yeah,
now,
for sure.
Up and running. Actually, I guess we should do a legitimate introduction on some podcasts. So, my name is Zane Cook. I am 23 for a couple weeks more.
For those of you at home, Zane just saluted, despite the fact that nobody but me will have ever seen it.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I'm Zane. This other asshole making fun of me is Steve.
That's me, Steve.
And we are both alumni of the University of Yukon, Connecticut.
Oh, yeah. YUKON, baby. Gotta love it.
We are both proud SIGEPs, proud cheerleaders. Maybe we're giving away too much personal information. We're going to dox ourselves on accident. But
I mean, dude, my Instagram already doxes me. I feel like you go on there, Facebook, whatever, you got the whole picture.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And it's just our names.
Yeah, also. And I don't even post that often.
It's too easy. We can't hide from the people looking for Snowden very well.
Oh, God. Dude, could you imagine that? Like, if you were on the run and you were from the government and you're just like, fuck, I guess I gotta go to Russia now.
It feels like you've passed all of the lines of, like, what society and order operates within. Like, you've gone into a murky gray area beyond the fringes of normal society where a whole government is more or less ignoring due process and the law just to make an example out of you. And that's terrifying because that seems like more powerlessness than you could have in any way. That's going into North Korea and stealing a poster. Like, that's you forfeited all of it, and that's terrifying.
If I was ever on the run from the government, I'm so glad that Snowden has now set up this kind of like to-do list on like check marks on like the steps of running away from the government. And I feel like what I would do is like, all right, one-way trip to Russia, get in contact with Snowden, figure out the rest later, because he'll mentor me. He seems like a cool guy.
That would be dope. That's a great work-study program.
Exactly. How to be a fugitive.
Well, that was so cool too on the podcast he's talking now that it's all kind of died down. Like, he can wander around and he has a little more freedom. I thought it was concrete box. Yeah. Literally. Yeah. And I think for a while it might have been concrete box.
Pretty much, yeah, just seeking asylum in Russia. The Russians aren't so bad, I guess. They're like kind of cool with him.
You just have to say that you're the machine.
That's true, yeah. Oh my god, yeah, especially if you want to be a mob boss or something.
Come with gifts of vodka and cigarettes. Wear your Adidas.
Speaking of cigarettes, man, I had one the other week. I didn't even smoke the whole thing. Actually, well, I had a couple when I was in Boston, but I had one by myself here. Didn't smoke the whole thing, but there was a time, man. Cigarettes. I don't even know what I'm trying to say right now, but
I think that's nostalgia for nicotine.
It kind of is, dude. It is like a little bit nostalgic because cigarettes are what I had when I was like in a weird mood. And I don't know why. I don't know why they like brought me some sort of comfort.
You know, even with the tax on it, that's cheaper than therapy.
That's very true, yeah. Yeah.
You could spend $400 seeing a therapist, or you could just tell yourself it'd be like that sometimes.
That's basically what I was doing. I was just like
have
outside in the
take
cold.
A drag, it'd be like that.
Yeah.
I think it's a people environment thing too. Like, I'm never a fan of cigarettes, never bought the cigarettes myself, but not even drinking. But when it's a frigid 2 a.m. snow outside the house with me, you, and a couple other guys after a night out and just like accidentally edging into some heavier shit.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's the right place.
It's that communal like peace pipe kind of thing. And that's why
that's an interesting take. I haven't thought about the philosophy, just the chemical effects.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's like, yeah, I mean that's why I like smoking joints and stuff with people so much. Like, and that's why I've never bought a weed pen or something like that. Because if I'm smoking a joint with people and you're passing it and like
there's a time
people aren't on their phones,
you gotta like manage it.
Exactly. Like it just keeps everybody kind of like engaged.
It's like a centering activity.
Yeah, exactly. And I think cigarettes are a similar kind of thing, even if you're not passing.
So I guess what we're saying is you should smoke weed and cigarettes.
Yeah, exactly. And we are doctors, so you can go to the bank with that one.
What we are though, actually. Steve, you want to tell us a little bit? What are you doing now? I know you can't tell us some things, but...
Yeah, my work is highly confidential.
Steve is an electrical engineer at the University of Yukon.
Exactly.
Graduated with flying colors and built a prototype railgun for the Navy his last year.
I did, yeah. That was my an underwater railgun system for submarines was my senior design project. First place, I'll have you know.
At Yukon.
But yeah, so now I'm working for Electric Boat. I'm really doxing myself because there's only one of those, but but yeah, and so
the Tesla of boats,
building electrical systems or helping with the engineering of electrical systems for submarines. It's a job. It's definitely a job.
So if you were ever wondering what might make Steve a good target for doxing, it's government connections and a security clearance.
Yeah, that's. Oof. Yeah.
Rethinking everything about this? No, we can cut that
out. No. I mean, it's fine. We don't have to cut it out. Because I know well enough basically I just don't talk about my work. Like, I'll talk about stories from work. Like, the people I work with are cool, and that can lead to good times. But yeah, the thing, it's easy though, and it's kind of a little trick that I like to think about is how, since I don't care about what I'm doing, I don't like talking about it much. Ooh. And so it probably won't come up.
It would be incredible if your boss starts listening to our podcast, hears that.
Oh, God. Yeah, well, that made me nervous, you saying that, but that's fine.
So Steve's in the market for a new job, is what he's saying.
Yeah, professional podcaster and YouTuber.
If you want an electrical,
sweet.
Really living the dream. Yeah. Don't worry, everybody who wants to furiously write about how terrible this is two friends doing it as a fun side hobby. We have no expectations of making a living.
This is honestly a perfect podcast. I think we're running a perfect game so far.
Half of us have no expectations of making a living. We're going to have an executive conference about that later.
Dude, this podcast is going viral. I'm calling it now.
Oh, big yikes.
But yeah, I don't know. It's a job. It's This is boring to talk about because I'm bored often and fall asleep.
Okay, we can take a pivot from that.
Yeah.
All right.
What about you, bud? What are you doing? What's your career looking like?
And I'm now working as an R&D engineer at a medical product company, which is a much flashier title than really encapsulates my day-to-day work. Turns out the entire world is pretty much run by Excel spreadsheets. I didn't realize how much just paperwork there was.
Well, dude, that's like I feel like that's what every job is. Like, people find these passions and they're like, oh, I love X. And then it turns out that working for that is just not at all what they expected.
And Sennheiser.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so a friend of ours, we might cut this out because I don't know if we should be talking about people, but whatever. Yeah, he worked at Sennheiser, and I was saying before, like, oh, that's like sick. You know, they make speakers and headphones, and if you really like music,
really
you
dope
think that
quality
you're just,
too.
Yeah, exactly, great stuff. And you would think that, like, oh, if you're working there, you're getting free headphones and you're listening to sick rock and roll all day, and everyone's there for a good time. But you're still just like an engineer, and you're still just pushing papers like most of the day. And even like if you want to work on like video games or something, like people in the video game industry work insane hours, dude. Like,
and are not really fairly compensated for it.
They're really not.
Because they rely on it being a passion project.
Exactly.
Even as these businesses expand and as these teams grow from a couple to dozens to hundreds of people on one game or one aspect of one game.
Yeah.
Like, what was GTA 5's development budget? It was hundreds of millions.
Oh, yeah.
It was more than many major motion pictures.
Insane.
Hundreds of people are working on it. So, I don't know. It feels like that's the downside with these passion projects. As business grows towards efficiency, even if it's like the field you want, the company you want, the position you want, there's more and more arm's length away from like the content or the spirit of what you're really trying to get at. It feels like everything that's a corporate hierarchy, at least, feels there's more distance between the product and you than you really expect going in.
Yeah, it sucks that everyone can't just be like artists and craftsmen. Yeah. Like, right. I feel like those people are happy.
We could go check out an Amish community. That's exactly the game, right?
Oh, God. Yeah, that's more like farmers.
Right, they make great furniture. They built my mom's barn. They built the barn, and then they put it on a flatbed and just shipped a whole-ass barn pre-assembled and like dropped it off in her backyard.
Actually, something interesting kind of that I found out at my job that's related to the
Holy
Amish.
Crap, guys.
Yeah,
there is interest at his job.
Found a nugget, mined it up from deep within the earth. But so back in the day, before they had computer models of the whole submarine, and they wanted to like make sure stuff fit, not just like on paper, like, oh yeah, I think this will work.
This cut should measure twice, cut once.
They would have the Amish come and build a full replica of the boat out of wood.
What the hell?
So that if there were components they needed to see, they could actually go into it and like check it out compared to this full-size version.
So they give them the schematics, more or less, and like have them build it from that?
Yeah, exactly.
That's so cool.
Isn't that insane?
That's like when you read about, I wish I remembered her name, but the one mathematician woman that they used to double check all of the Apollo missions, like flight trajectories. Mm-hmm. They had computers at the time, less than an iPhone's worth, but they had computers that were calculating all of the velocities and accelerations, angles, gravity. But there was one woman who had been working at NASA as some type of engineer who was just so gifted as like a polymath, I don't know, genius, that they literally had her double check the computer by hand to make sure that the moon mission was going to work.
And did it?
Yeah. Spoiler alert. Some of them.
Oh, yeah, true.
Actually, there might have been 3 women. I think there was a big movie about this a little while ago.
Oh, Hidden Figures.
That is exactly the movie. I wish I remember too, but yeah. It was 3 women that they had behind the scenes that were just, I guess, real gifted.
Women of all people.
Steve's new to the idea of considering women as people. Wow. So women of all people
really also do math.
It's like, have you heard the Jesselnick joke? He's talking about how many beautiful women there are in whatever town he's doing this special, in whatever city. Mm-hmm. He said he met a woman at the bar the other day. He's like, hey, so what do you do? And she told me she was a neurosurgeon. I was impressed. Most women can't pull off sarcasm. God, he's so hateable in such a lovable way. Yeah, what a niche.
He just set up punchline one after the other.
God.
Classic.
I need to be watching more stand-up. Have you seen much Mitch Hedberg?
Yeah, I know Mitch Hedberg.
God, he's so funny.
I have been saved by the buoyancy of citrus.
You want a frozen banana? No. But I want a banana later, so I'll take it now.
Yeah, dude, what's crazy about him is he was always wearing sunglasses on his sets because his eyes were closed because he was like so nervous.
Heroin.
Oh, was it also heroin?
He only did stand up while on heroin.
Damn.
He OD'd and died from heroin.
Yeah,
that was
I knew
like,
that.
yeah.
That's crazy.
He apparently would only do his sets like while under the influence.
Wow.
So eyes closed, some combo of nervous and heroin.
Yeah. Might have been more heroin. But
Not something I know much with.
Yeah, seriously.
Just that it's bad. Folks, don't do heroin.
Yeah, just stick to cigarettes.
Speaking of which, I'm noticing that as this goes a little longer, I'm swearing more and more.
Yeah.
Have we looked into demonetization much?
So, demonetization on YouTube
is the first minute if you swear.
Don't swear in the first minute and you should be fine.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well,
As long as you're not talking about anything too racy, which we're probably doing, but what you gonna do?
I think we recommended weed and cigarettes. So.
That's true. Yeah, the cigarettes might be what fucked us. People tend to look down upon them. But that's just more big pharma, dude, trying to tell you that cigarettes are bad for you.
As someone who hopes to be a doctor, don't listen to Steve on that one too seriously.
Dude, little cigarettes versus big pharma. I know where my money is.
It's big tobacco. They're also a big pack.
Little cigs, dude.
I'm like bogues. Little bogeys.
Little bogeys need a fighting chance. Everyone's always trying to put them down, saying that they're bad for you.
I think we finally found our voice. We're here to represent the little guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Cigarette companies.
I'm always rooting for the underdog.
It's because the underdog's usually the guy pinned under you.
Yeah, I'm always rooting for him. I'm such a dickhead.
Putting him in the dirt. What are other great important things? This will probably be a bit of dead space that we cut out, but the number of times that I hear a podcast say, we can cut that out, and then it's in the podcast and I'm hearing them say it.
Yeah, it gets you like on like a little inside joke, it feels
right?
like.
It makes me wonder how many they actually cut out.
Yeah.
None? A lot more than we hear? 50-50? I wonder how much of it makes it into the final cut.
So many of the podcasts I listen to, like, they're so smooth, like, they sound like just one continuous conversation. So, like...
I think a lot
Or they'll cut it with, like, an ad break or something.
That's fair. Well, that's not a bad idea. I mean, not that we have ads, but we could pretend we do.
Yeah, that's true.
We could run ads for little cigarettes in our...
Little cig.
Little bits.
Little bits.
Little cigarette for a little bit meal.
Cigarettes for the whole family.
Speaking of which, Rick and Morty back again tomorrow night. I hope they continue to kill it. This season started off fantastic.
Dude, yeah, that first episode was great. Especially coming from someone who was a little bit disappointed with season 3 in general. I did not think it was as strong as the first two. Season 4, the first episode was quality stuff.
Oh, they came back swinging, and they know that they had to, and they did.
Yeah.
Dude. Nope, lost the train of thought. Dude.
I was really ready to jump into something with you right there.
I know, it would have been a good one, I think. Oh, where were we tracing along? I'm forgetting.
Rick and Morty? Season 2, 3.
Oh, yes. Speaking of great shows that came back and have come back well, this is a brand new one that isn't coming back from anywhere, but is a great show. The Mandalorian. Honestly. 2 out of 2 episodes so far, solid. I think it launched on Wednesday with Disney Plus, the first episode, and then yesterday the second one came out, and now it's every Friday.
Right now, The Mandalorian is the only reason I think I would watch Disney Plus.
Well, lucky for you, I bought it the day Disney Plus released, so you can have one of my sign-ins.
What's your login info?
Almost caught me. But if you want my social security, it's fine. That was almost the first real digit.
5?
Oh God, that is the first real digit.
What's the last one?
No! I can't keep telling you.
Just give me 1 in the middle.
Yeah, but if I do that and then 15 episodes from now, out of nowhere, you ask me what a digit in my social security is, by the time we hit our 3rd season of this show, are we doing seasons? They're going to have my whole social history.
Dude, the audience loves riddles. Just give us 1 more number.
I know. Have you seen what 4chan can do? They beat Shia LaBeouf, and I definitely don't have his powers of illusion.
That was crazy. By tracking airplanes going through the sky.
Constellations and jet paths.
Oh my God.
And then some dude driving around honking. We hear you. We hear you. 4chan, what a beautiful community of monsters. I love that.
Scary, dude. When 4chan sets their sights on someone, that person is fucked.
Yeah, that's
absolutely
literally worse than the government. I bet that 4chan can find Snowden faster than the U.S. government.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I bet they could do it within literally like a 2-week period.
24 hours.
That's
I'd give him 48 to be generous.
wasn't that a show? 48?
Yeah, 24.
The first 48 I'm thinking of, which is I think about missing persons cases.
First 48. Oh,
yeah,
that
when somebody
familiar.
goes missing and you report it, there's like an exponential drop in the chances that you ever find them or find them alive after the first 48 hours.
Huh.
Like the sphere that, I guess not a sphere, most people aren't tunneling or flying.
Yeah.
The circle within which the person could be just expands so fast, so quickly within that much time that
yeah.
chances are not great that you find them again.
Huh.
So the first 48 are like a super critical window. And I can't remember if that show was like, I don't think it was scripted. I think it was kind of like Cops where they're following real cases.
Yeah.
You know what's nuts about Cops? I realize it being, you know, a TV show with real people and the liability involved, you need signatures, but I guess I didn't know what the laws would be concerning people who had violated the law and were recorded on like dash and body cams. But no, every single episode of that show, every single case they showed every person, they got written consent from them to be shown on Cops getting arrested. These people are like, I don't know, either this is such a high 15 minutes of fame for them or they don't give a shit or don't.
During like the worst day of their life pretty often.
Yeah. And they were like, yeah, word, this will make great primetime news. Go for it. Seriously, every single episode of Cops was like willingly, unless there's some sketchy shit going on.
Yeah.
I mean, Epstein definitely killed himself, but...
Yeah, of course.
But these people also definitely signed the waivers.
Wow.
Or so I'm told.
I wonder if they just kind of like slipped it in there with their like Miranda rights or something.
You have the right to be put on Cops live TV.
Yeah. Well, a lot of those people are fucking hammered too. But I wonder if, they can't give consent to a can you legally give consent to a contract if you're drunk?
I don't know. We need a hot call-in number. If anybody has any lawyer friends out there that wants to be randomly bothered with stupid questions,
yeah, true.
Please dox them. Give us their number. We need their contact information. Oh my God, are we going to get demonetized for jokingly calling to dox someone? We didn't mean it, YouTube gods.
Actually, maybe YouTube does some dumb shit, man.
I think that might have been the nail in the coffin saying that.
Did you hear about what happened with Markiplier?
Yes, I saw his video with 25 million views and was like, all right, I got 8 minutes to burn.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's horrible.
So crazy. Dude, people lost not just their YouTube accounts, their Google accounts. They lost complete access to their like Gmail, to their email address.
That fucks up work and life.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, if I lost my Gmail, I would be crippled for weeks.
Yeah, insane.
I run a lot of aspects of my life through that.
Like, I feel like there's a class action lawsuit to be had there. Like, honestly.
Oh, for sure. Especially
but I feel like suing Google is so scary.
Well, some of the people, he was showing like screenshots of their comments and conversations that they had with support.
Yeah.
And it was like, hey, this is a big issue everyone's having. And they were like, sorry, all bans are carefully reviewed. It's final.
Yeah.
Like, clearly not. All they did was post the red smiley face emoji a bunch of times.
Insane.
Like, how could you be so blind?
God, I would be so furious.
I wonder if any of those people, God forbid, are like also YouTubers and make portions or all of their living on YouTube.
That's a good question.
Like, what if one of those people chiming in was one of his buddies and like is locked out of his account? You could be...
That's legitimately your entire career right there.
Good God. YouTube, come on, have a little bit more care for the people. Let freedom of speech work itself out.
Yeah, they just have such a like big, a huge like volume of like content that they have to monitor all the time. So they're just trying to completely automate everything about it, and it's... I have some sympathy there, but like clearly they've just gone way too like they just need to proceed more carefully.
I think they're too worried about catching everything that could cause any offense that they are very much neglecting not catching things that shouldn't cause offense.
Yeah.
Like, I think the casualties are too high for the success rate that they have in getting the stuff off that they would want to take them down.
And it's all incentivized by greed too. Like, it's also that advertisers are happy.
Yes.
More so more than like this virtuous company that wants to be so woke.
Oh my God, speaking of which, I love Google's "Don't Be Evil" tenet of their mission statement.
Yeah.
That was one of the official things, like, since Google was founded. One of their mission statement bullet points was, "Don't be evil." Mm-hmm. Kind of weird to include, but lofty. I like it.
Yeah.
They took it off. a year or two ago.
That's so crazy.
It was a ballsy gambit, I think, to put "don't be evil" into your official statement.
Like, it's nice.
I like it, but there's interpretation with something that a supermassive corporation like Google wants to be.
It's like saying do your best. Like, yeah,
exactly.
Do your best.
But I think they ran a bit of risk being kind of weird by talking about evil in their mission statement.
Yeah.
I think it was a significantly bigger blunder to then remove it.
Yeah.
Because that raises some serious questions.
It's like, all right, you can be evil sometimes. Everyone's a little evil.
Like lawful evil, right? That's the Google way.
Lawful evil, pretty much, yeah.
Holy shoot, we just stumbled upon the perfect designation for all of these companies that are trying to...
most corporations, I feel like, is lawful evil.
The ones that aren't lawful evil get taken down, but the ones that are still around are all lawful evil.
Yeah, very true.
Oh boy. Let's already make a pact to just not read any comments.
No, I'm gonna read comments.
All right, Steve is the comment man.
It's very hard to offend me. But if I'm fucking something up, I want to know.
That's fair. For the first while, I guess I would like the constructive criticism.
Saying? Especially if you're trying to build a community, which is that's a way down the road thing. But if I were trying to build a community, I'd want to see what people are saying. Yeah. I feel like reading comments isn't all bad. Once you're huge, it's unfeasible to do.
Yeah.
Unless you just want to get a smattering and
That's okay. That's fair.
I think
I have a bit of an inflated opinion of where we are in the YouTube hierarchy.
Yeah, exactly. If you're a huge person, because I see that a lot on people I subscribe to who have millions of subs and get hundreds of thousands of views or whatever. They're not reading comments, and that makes total sense because one, they know what they're doing. They're putting out a consistent product, I guess.
Yes.
And a lot of the stuff in there is just going to be inflammatory bullshit that they've heard a million times before.
That's true. I get it, guys. My voice is annoying to listen to. Oh. I'm not going to be able to change that.
I feel everyone hates their own voice, though. I fucking hate my voice.
That's because you're so habituated to what it is, and fun fact, you actually hear your voice differently than everyone else.
Yeah, because it's projecting away from your ears.
Well, the Doppler effect is one thing, but there's also a literal internal resonance because your vocal cords are housed inside you, and your whole hearing thing is basically an enclosed fluid jiggling vibrational sensing system.
Yeah.
Having it emanate from your throat, which is so close to your ears, you pick up some of these vibrations, and it adds a bass and a timbre to your own voice when you hear yourself speak. Mm-hmm. That isn't actual sound you're projecting. It's basically vibrating within the tissues of your body and getting picked up by your auditory processing stuff.
That makes sense.
So there's an extra layer of you think your voice is a little bit deeper and fuller than it actually is.
Yeah.
So if you hear it, you're hearing it without the usual filters of your own neck and ear tissue that usually change how you perceive it.
I feel I hear my voice is not nearly as high as when I hear it recorded. I'm sorry, I
rephrase that, please.
I think, sorry. When I hear my voice on a recording, it's deeper than how I hear it when I'm speaking.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Could also be a part of our recording practices, or maybe your conversational voice is a little different from your recording by yourself voice. I don't know.
Probably,
I don't have all answers.
But I wonder if when I spoke, I heard my voice as other people heard it. And then when I recorded it, it sounded like how I hear it. I wonder if I would hate this version just because it's different. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's because it's what you're not habituated to.
Yeah.
That when you hear the recording, you're like, oh, that doesn't sound right.
It's like when you see certain pictures of yourself that don't flip your face.
Yes.
It looks weird and ugly to you because you're used to looking at yourself in a mirror. When literally it's the same face, just different. And a lot of people just hate pictures of themselves when everyone else is what are you talking about? That's just what you look like.
I've actually never thought of that before. But
yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
That's why iPhones and some other phones, if you ever take a selfie, it takes a picture and flips it because people just like that better.
That's the
standard.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I can follow that. Plus, it's easier if you're looking at it to mirror.
Mm-hmm. You know what's annoying about Snapchat? Is that
you can stalk your friends with geolocation technology?
No, because you can just turn that off. And I use that sometimes, especially when I was at college and I wanted to know who's in the dining hall. I would just be let me look you up. You gave me your location.
That is smart.
What was it? Oh, yeah. What's annoying about Snapchat is that they put way more effort into their iPhone app than their Android app. Because the way it works, Snapchat pictures look way better on an iPhone. Because the software of Snapchat actually essentially speaks to the camera. And so it's actually using your camera, whereas on Android,
it takes a
it's
picture
so
and applies
lazy. It basically screenshots your phone. So your camera's open, it has a picture, and it just screenshots that. So it's going to be like lower res. It's not like the whole picture file.
Oh.
It's just a screenshot of like whatever was on your screen at the time.
Explains something that I've kind of noticed but not really understood. Snapchat definitely is not native to Android compared.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
That is a bit annoying. I wish.
But it kind of, I mean, the thing is, you got to cut them a little bit of slack because like there's one iPhone basically, like they're all the same. Whereas like if you're gonna optimize that for Android, you have to do it for every screen, like size, dimension, like
they're coming out of 6
panel,
different countries, major
like,
manufacturers.
Exactly. Like there's so many different kinds. But like, come on, Snapchat, you got money, you got time. What are you doing? You gonna add another filter?
Help us out.
Fix your camera.
What you gonna do?
Yeah.
You gonna different dog ears?
Fix your priorities. Yeah, exactly. Change your priorities around.
You're gonna start picking the breed of the dog ears that we get in the filter?
Yeah.
I want golden retriever ears, or I'm not interested.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fair. iPhone versus Android is such an interesting... People love tribalism.
Yeah.
They love it. You know what's incredible? On Giphy, Samsung published like 30-something GIFs to send in response to people complaining about green text.
Oh, yeah.
Like they're just green bubble themed GIFs.
Dude, I've gotten so much shit in my life about
I saved 6 of the GIFs just so that I could send them to people when they complain about it. Literally, every time, very often, when you go from a Tinder conversation to texting, the first thing I get in response to, hey, it's Zane, smiley face, is
your messages are green.
Green bubbles.
Yeah.
Like, well, I guess this teaches me something about your personality that wasn't in the biography.
Exactly. And people, it's just so unoriginal, too.
Yeah,
like,
right?
Because everyone says it.
If we're going to talk unoriginality on dating apps, hot damn, do we have content for years.
Yeah,
we might have finally
seriously.
found our niche.
Turns out there's more than a couple people who like The Office.
What?
Yeah, believe
Next,
it.
you're going to tell me that Friends has a wide fan base.
Oh, my God.
At least nobody else loves to laugh besides me, right?
Yeah.
That's a unique thing.
I like people who are funny. Yeah, so does everyone else in the entire world. Jesus Christ.
Oh, my God. But I guess we will wrap this one up. You guys have been listening to a couple of fellas, and remember this. Do weed, do cigarettes, and do Tinder.
But not heroin.
Have a good night.